Sarah was a middle school teacher. She loved her job. Every morning she greeted her students with a bright smile. She enjoyed explaining lessons, asking questions, and seeing the excitement on her students' faces when they understood something new. She was always full of energy, moving around the classroom, helping students, and making learning fun. But one day, Sarah woke up feeling different. Her body felt heavy, and her eyes were still tired. Maybe I didn't sleep well last night, she thought. She drank an extra cup of coffee and went to work as usual. However, the tiredness didn't go away. Even after a full night's sleep, she still felt exhausted the next morning. She started to notice small changes in her daily life. Walking up the stairs to her classroom felt harder. Carrying books made her arms ache. During lunch breaks, she used to chat with her colleagues, but now she just wanted to sit quietly and rest. Her students also noticed the change. "Miss Sarah, are you okay?" one of them asked. She forced a smile. "Yes, I'm fine," she said, but inside she wasn't sure. As the days passed, Sarah's fatigue became worse. She had trouble focusing during lessons. Sometimes she forgot what she was about to say. At night she went to bed early, hoping that more sleep would help. But every morning she woke up feeling just as tired. "This is strange," she thought. "Why am I feeling like this?" At first she ignored it. Maybe it was just stress. Maybe she needed a vacation. But deep inside she started to worry. Was something wrong with her health? She didn't have the answer yet, but she knew one thing. Something was not right. It was a normal school day. Sarah stood in front of the class, explaining a history lesson. The students were listening carefully, and everything seemed fine. But suddenly she felt a strange pain in her lower stomach. It was not very strong, but it was uncomfortable. She took a deep breath and continued teaching. "Maybe it's just something I ate," she thought. As the lesson went on, the discomfort grew worse. A dull ache spread through her lower abdomen. She shifted her weight, trying to ignore it. But then she felt something even more unusual, a warm, wet sensation. Sarah's heart started to race. She knew this feeling. It was the same as when she used to have her period. But that didn't make sense. She hadn't had a period in months. "It can't be that," she told herself. Trying to stay calm, she glanced at the clock. There were still 10 minutes left in class. She didn't want to panic in front of her students. "I can wait," she thought. But as the pain grew stronger, she became more worried. Finally, the bell rang. "All right, class, we'll continue this lesson tomorrow," she said quickly. As the students packed their bags, Sarah rushed to the teacher's restroom. Inside, she checked and saw what she feared. There was blood. Her hands trembled slightly. Why is this happening? She wondered. She was supposed to be done with this part of her life. Was something wrong? Was she sick? A wave of confusion and worry washed over her. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She needed to understand what was going on. "I have to see a doctor," she whispered to herself. Sarah sat in the waiting room of the clinic, tapping her fingers nervously on her bag. She had always been healthy. She rarely went to the doctor except for regular checkups. But today she felt different. The unexpected bleeding and constant fatigue worried her. After a few minutes, the nurse called her name. "Miss Sarah, the doctor will see you now." She stood up and walked into the small examination room. A kind-looking doctor greeted her. "Hello, Sarah. What brings you here today?" Sarah hesitated for a moment, then explained everything. Her exhaustion, the strange pain, and the unexpected bleeding. As she spoke, she felt a mix of fear and embarrassment. "What if something is seriously wrong with me?" she thought. The doctor listened carefully, nodding as Sarah talked. When she finished, he gave her a reassuring smile. "I understand why you're worried, Sarah. But based on what you're describing, this is likely related to menopause." "Menopause?" Sarah repeated, surprised. "But I thought that was over. My period stopped months ago." The doctor nodded. That's a common misunderstanding. Menopause doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Some women experience irregular bleeding, fatigue, and even mood changes. Your body is adjusting to lower hormone levels, and that can cause these symptoms. Sarah frowned. She had heard about menopause before, but she never thought much about it. No one had ever explained it to her in detail. So, this is normal? She asked. It can be, the doctor said. But we should do some tests to make sure everything is okay, just to be safe. Sarah let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. The fear in her chest softened a little. She wasn't sick. She wasn't alone. Still, she felt confused. She had spent years taking care of her health, exercising, and eating well. But now, her own body felt unfamiliar. Doctor, she asked hesitantly, is there anything I can do to feel better? The doctor smiled. Absolutely. There are many ways to manage menopause symptoms. But the first step is understanding what's happening. You're not broken, Sarah. Your body is just changing. And that's okay. Sarah nodded slowly. She still had many questions, but for the first time in weeks, she felt a little less afraid. A few days after her doctor's visit, Sarah sat in front of her laptop, searching for information about menopause. She read articles, watched videos, and even looked at medical studies. But the more she read, the more overwhelmed she felt. There were so many symptoms: fatigue, mood swings, hot flashes, and more. How do other women deal with this? She wondered. Then she found something interesting: a local support group for women going through menopause. They met once a week at a community center. Sarah hesitated for a moment. She had never joined a support group before. Would it be awkward? But deep inside, she knew she needed to talk to someone who understood. The following Thursday, she walked into a small meeting room. A group of women, mostly in their 40s and 50s, sat in a circle. Some were chatting, while others sipped tea. A friendly-looking woman waved her over. "Hi, I'm Lisa," she said warmly. "Welcome. Is this your first time?" Sarah nodded. "Yes, I just found out that my symptoms are related to menopause. I don't know much about it." Lisa smiled. "You're not alone. We've all been there." As the meeting started, women began sharing their experiences. One woman, Emily, talked about how tired she felt every day, just like Sarah. Another woman, Maria, said she also had unexpected bleeding and panicked at first. "I thought I was sick," Maria laughed, "but my doctor said it's just part of the process." As Sarah listened, she felt a sense of relief. These women understood her struggles. They weren't embarrassed or afraid to talk about menopause. They shared tips on how to feel better, drinking more water, doing light exercise, eating healthy, and getting enough rest. "Menopause isn't the end of the world," Lisa said. "It's just a new chapter, and we're all learning together." For the first time in weeks, Sarah smiled. She had come looking for answers, but she found something even better: support, understanding, and friendship. She wasn't alone. Over the next few weeks, Sarah made small but important changes to her life. She followed the advice from her doctor and the support group, learning how to manage her symptoms step by step. She started by improving her sleep routine. Instead of drinking coffee late at night, she switched to herbal tea. She also turned off her phone before bed and made her bedroom a peaceful, relaxing place. Slowly, her sleep improved, and she woke up feeling less exhausted. To help with fatigue, Sarah also adjusted her diet. She ate more fruits, vegetables, and protein, avoiding too much sugar and processed food. She noticed that her energy levels were more stable throughout the day. Exercise became an important part of her routine. At first, she felt too tired to work out, but Lisa from the support group encouraged her to try simple activities like walking or yoga. Sarah joined a weekend yoga class and found that it helped her feel calmer and stronger. Most importantly, Sarah learned to listen to her body. On difficult days, she gave herself permission to rest without feeling guilty. She also talked openly with her friends and colleagues about what she was going through. To her surprise, some of her co-workers had experienced the same challenges. One afternoon, as she stood in front of her class, Sarah realized something had changed. She still had occasional bad days, but she felt more in control. The fear and confusion she once had were gone. As she looked at her students, she smiled. She was still the same teacher, still full of passion for her job. Menopause was not the end of her energy or her happiness. It was just a new chapter, and she was ready for it.